everyone. My name is Chubi.
And I'm Vanessa, and welcome to No Filters,
No
No
filters,
Fears
no fears
podcast.
podcast. Today's elephant is a four. We're getting it out of the way because we always forget. It's a four,
Yep.
elephant four. Because we hear it all the motherfucking time. We hear it a lot. Oh, you're crying? It could have been worse, like at least you're not like dead. Like that drives me crazy. And mind you, we're not saying that people do it on purpose. They just don't realize they're doing it. And
And I don't realize that that's maybe not the thing that in the
the
depths
person
of your
wanted,
sorrow you need to or want to hear. I do it with
right,
the
like
best
right now
intentions.
right, we don't need to hear that right now, not now. Wait, just wait. Guys, can you give us examples of toxic positivity that you've heard or that you've said yourself without realizing it, and you're like, oh damn, after you said it?
Of this toxic positivity bit. And when I recognized what it does to people, like I'm like, yeah, you're right. That is shitty. Oops.
I thought I did that, but then I realized, oh wait, I don't, because I'm too blunt to be like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, your life is shit right now. I'm sorry your car broke down. I'm
You
not
gotta
gonna be
go
like,
through it.
well, right. I'm like that, but then that could be also too negative because it's like, yeah, we're sitting on it, but I'm not giving you time to actually deal with it because I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, honey,
so
they have
we
good
have to
intentions, but
kind of,
it starts.
then we need a balance. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
gonna read. I'm
But
gonna read the definition
I was gonna say, I
about
know
what.
she was at a definition.
For those who do not know what being toxic positivity means, or having that trait that you don't realize you're doing it. Definition: the excessive and ineffective overgeneralization of a happy, optimistic state across all situations. The process of toxic positivity results in the denial, minimization, and invalidation of the authentic human emotional experience. For example, you'll get over it. Instead, say, it's hard, but I believe in you.
All vibes are welcome here. Is that's
Yeah, I
what
mean,
our background is right now, and the toxic positive equivalent would be good vibes only, which I think is cute. The good vibes only thing, and I don't think
but
people mean it to like be a dick. But let's think about it. Sometimes we're not vibrating that high. We're having a shitty day. So if you are that friend that's in that space and you show up to it's like good vibes only, you feel unwelcome. You feel like you're the problem child in that situation. And oh, you're going to be fine.
I hate that one.
Plan. Yeah.
Or like this one. You have so many things to be thankful for. We heard that one a
Oh, I've
lot
said
too.
that. I've said that. Oi. And again, like we really don't mean it ill intention because you do believe in that person and you've seen them persevere and rise above certain things. So you know that it's in them. But sometimes we forget that we've also been in that mode of that moment needing to happen. You just want the person you care about to feel better, right?
Right, but
You
it's not
don't
working.
realize you're invalidating.
Ooh, how about you just need to hustle harder, or like, just try harder. Wow. I feel like that one pisses me off personally. It's like, really, you don't think I was trying hard enough? Is that how you feel? Like, is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
Yeah,
Because let's be honest. Sometimes when we give with English, when we give the comment, it's not like the person. ¿Cómo explico? The fact might be that the person probably didn't try, but it still hurts and it still sucks. And that's not the moment to throw it in their face that they didn't try.
right.
Right? It hurts them and they're going through it and they're gonna realize what could I have done different. And then in that conversation, they'll realize, oh damn, there's so much more that I could have done that I didn't. But it doesn't
Right.
take away from the fact that it still feels like shiitake mushrooms.
Right. That was not the time to bring it up. Um,
And going back to the good vibes thing, because I wonder if you can relate. You know, that's a very thing in the new age biz, like only the good vibes, only allow positive energy into your circle. I am so listen, my mama is a Reiki master and a reverend and all of the things, and I cannot with it's a balance. That's what we talk about all the time, is it not? It's a
Yeah.
balance. You cannot have one and not have the other, because you will never know to appreciate the other with you. You can't appreciate one without the other.
Right. Exactly. Oh, how
So
about
good vibes only
stopping?
all the time is gonna make you real blind to a lot of shit.
Right, because you need to accept that it's not gonna be good vibes all the time. So accept it,
Yeah.
dwell on it a little bit, and vamos a moverlo. Especially when someone wants to vent. Oh yeah, this is why you say, "Hey, can I call you? I'm only here to vent." And then the person knows that this is a judgment-free zone, that where we're just venting. I don't want to hear it. Just listen to me.
Mm.
That's always a good
I
one
mean,
too.
I think that the toxic positivity bit is also a lesson in listening,
Mm,
because I didn't know what it was. You know, we fall into the trap that we don't listen. And, you
right.
know, in wanting to advise a friend, you forget that they requested to just vent, right? And sometimes they don't have the strength or the wherewithal to say, I just wanted to vent. Why are you talking right now? So when you have that gift of someone telling you, I didn't call to listen to the pep talk or the advice, I just needed to let her rip. When you have that gift, it can be hard, but I invite you all to not take it personally, because you learn to be a better listener, and then be appreciative that when you're venting, that person is actually listening. I was talking about that today, saying we're not used to hearing absolute silence on the other end of the phone. You're used to hearing, yeah. So when someone's actually listening, you're like, they stop listening to me.
Sometimes I do. I'm like, "Are you there?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, you're just listening." But I'm the type of person though that I've done that with you. Talk to me. What's going on? Vent, vent. If you want
Yeah,
advice, I
and
tell
it's
you. If
like,
you don't, that's fine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's some people just born with this gift. Chubby has the gift. Therapist Helen went into the right profession, has the gift. It's been an acquired lesson for me. I'm Cuban. My automatic thing is talk and opine, have an opinion.
Yeah.
um, what else? What has been like the one toxic positive thing that may have like pushed you over the edge at one point? What comment do you think were like, that was like really not what I needed at that moment?
It's not that bad. It doesn't sound that bad. To me, it's the end of the fucking world.
Yeah.
And that gets me mad. I'm like, yes, I'm venting. Let's hypothetically say X, Y, and Z about my siblings or whatever, but I'm venting, so it's bad for me at the moment. Hence why I'm just venting. I don't need your opinion, but it's not that bad. That how can you can't say it's not that bad, because to you it's not that bad. But to me, it's a fucking end of the world. So it's fucking bad. That pisses me off. That's one that's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I don't want to be friends with it. I can't deal with
I
it.
think it's really difficult when someone is dealing with a loss. And I'm talking about a loss, specifically a passing. Someone has passed away.
Right.
And, you know, we want the person to remember the memories and all of that, but it sucks. And it's gonna suck. And because the tears and the sorrow, you're not, that person has left, and they are absolutely in a better place, and they're all of that. You know what I mean? We know that we're
Mhm.
crying for ourselves, for our loss, for something that we won't get back. And that is very valid and very real in that moment. And to try and push that off and think of only you're going to get to the point where you think of those memories and they make you feel better, but it doesn't take away that pain. You know
Right.
what I mean? Of that loss. So when people always tell you like, oh, but you could have like, they could have like ignored you, but no, you had a really great life. I understand. Yes, you want them to remember the good times and that, you know, they had that relationship to begin with, but it's very difficult. You have to mourn. Covering up mourning
Right.
just comes up later in scary and sad ways.
And but that's the thing that I was thinking about while I was researching this episode. Like, why do you think that? Oh yeah, positive vibes only, and like you want to be numb from those feelings. Like, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, instead of feeling them and sitting there with them, people just want to like not cope with them, and they just like, yeah, good vibes only. Oh my god, yeah. Well, now they're in a better place. They die, whatever. Like,
Do you think
why
it's
do you
something
think?
of this time of this time? We have so many different ways, and I'm just posing a question, but we have so many different ways of dissociating with what reality is. Our individual reality and our communal, right? Our communal reality. There's so many ways to dissociate from it. Tiki tiki, el telefonito, tiki tiki, la computadora, el Netflix, right? And then add to it other layers of, substances, right? Those have always existed and they've been used for good and for evil. And
Right.
I'm not saying that in using it to be more in tune with yourself or with nature, whatever, there's the positives, but when we use it as that thing to veil realities and to escape, right, and not deal, are we really helping ourselves or harming ourselves and those around us by not dealing? They're not getting our best selves. They're getting the part of ourselves that we never really dealt with. And then we never know what the trigger is going to be, right? Because we've smiled it away and or covered it up, tapar el dedo con el sol, con cualquier vaina, and something completely out of the blue will trigger it. And then it's thrown in your face to have to deal with something very real and maybe a moment that you weren't ready for it.
That's exactly what I was getting at. Like the way of coping with it, instead of dealing with it, we're just like, no, just it will get better. Just ignore it instead of sitting there with it. And I guess that's the hardest thing for people to do, to sit with what's real because they don't want to feel that. And I don't know if it's a generation. Maybe it's a generation. I'm gonna say I don't know.
I don't really think it's a generation. I think every generation has their form of it, right? And I
Mm.
don't know if it's like mutated with every generation, but has it been your experience? Okay, we're both Latinx, right? And that's what our little titles are. So that being said, in our culture, there's a lot that gets suppressed, right?
That's true.
About family life, about sexuality, about womanhood, about masculinity, so many things that need to pass as, right? No se llora, no se tal, right?
Right.
You smile through your swollen feet through pregnancy. Menopause is not something that happens. You ignore it and you don't talk about it. Those kinds
Yeah.
of things, like, how has that been? That's not like just for one generation. I've seen it
Yeah.
in ours. I've seen it in my mother's generation. Imagínate, worse, in my grandmother's generation, there was
I
a
guess
lot of
now it
things that
just
you
has.
had to keep on the mask.
I guess now it just has a name. So
Exactly. Which I will say that about this generation, this time,
yeah.
everything has a damn name. Whether I agree with it always or not is a different story. But that it has a name, something that you can refer to and be like, clink. It's, you know, that's kind of helpful to identify.
Yeah, I think it's helpful to have names. I mean, remember, we already spoke about this before with pronouns and things, how when I found that home of like, non-binary, I was like, this feels
Yeah.
right. So it's the same thing with other words. It's like, oh my God, okay, now we know how to associate this type of behavior or way of dealing with things with this word or this phrase. So I think it's
Absolutely.
helpful because it does help the next generation figure out what's going on, so
I agree. I agree. But it's also, you know what? That's the new hashtag, Juby. It's a balance. It's a balance.
it's a
It's a new hashtag.
hashtag.
And because we
We
always
got it.
forget with this, but we forgot hashtag we're not therapists. This is us bantering about something that we've all experienced. You know what I mean? But
We're definitely not
it is a
therapists.
balance because it gets to the point where now terms get taken. I was talking about this the other day with another therapist friend, and he said, the word at a moment was bipolar, and then people started inappropriately placing it on other I guess traits and saying fulanito bipolar, which then kind of like it makes it very difficult to be able to handle your, if you are somebody who battles bipolar disorder, it kind of invalidates it by like, now te lo tiran para cualquier cosa. You know what I
That's true.
mean? So, and I now the new word for todo, and then you read the definitions, you're like, am I this? And you start questioning every damn thing you do. Narcissists. And now everything is toxic. Even things that you associated to be something so positive that you saw be so positive in the life of so many to an extreme. My abuela always said, hasta el pan en exceso es malo.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Hmm. Oh,
So,
translate in English, so the English speakers, even the bread in excess is bad, I guess.
even bread in excess is bad, right? So in little quantities, bread is fine. It's great. Low carbs. But in excess, nene, ponte dieta. Like it's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
nothing can be the extremes. Shouldn't be the extremes, I
B.
guess, is the thing.
I mean, therapist Helen, do you have anything to say if you're still watching? Do you have a 2 cents to put into this? We would like to know your professional opinion
Yes,
in
please.
this whole world of the toxic positivity that we are now, living in. I literally thought that I was like always being that toxic positive, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I realized I'm the extreme of
Right.
that, the opposite.
But the thing is, the most important thing that you don't do, that is a very, you know what, I point a lot virtually, which is something I never really do in person. Dedo para abajo. But something that you don't do that to me is a massive characteristic of toxic positivity would be the invalidating factor.
Oh, I wouldn't that be done to me. I don't do it onto people. So
Right. And it's something that I don't know. I sometimes that someone might interpret as invalidating, even though it's not the intention. And then the question is, and this is a question for all y'all, so feel free to respond, please. Where does that, does one communicate that? Because if the person receiving it, you're right, the person the intention is for, is not receiving the message of, I am validating you, right? But I want this, I want to help you reframe this in tal way.
yeah,
Another hashtag, right?
that way.
Hashtag reframing.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a new one. I was like, that way, wait, okay.
but if they don't feel it, it does it count? You know what I mean? If they still feel invalidated, you gotta, my mom always said it, speak in the language of the listener. If the person that the intent is to give them solace, to give them support, then you gotta validate them in the way that'll make them receptive. No?
Well, but like we always say, if you have nothing to say, you always say, "Hey, I'm here for you. I don't know. I have nothing to say about this, but I'm here for you. But I'm willing to listen, but I don't know what to say." Sometimes all you could do is just be there. You don't know what the fuck
Yeah.
to say, so you just
Yeah.
I hear you. I mean, and sometimes the person doesn't want to be validated. They just want somebody to listen. So you don't even know the situation until you get there. So it's like, just be like, I'm here for you. Talk to me. You want a hug? I'll give you all
You're
the
not
hugs you want.
alone.
You're not
For
alone.
oh no, we're not gonna do this today. But sometimes for me, the you're not alone goes so much further. Or the feeling of not making them think that they're broken or that there's
That
something wrong with them for hurting, right? That because they're not that positive or not just happy go lucky, that it automatically there's something wrong with you, that you can't see this. Now, if it's consistent, you know, you want them to maybe acknowledge it so that way they can, ¿cómo explico? Acknowledge it that maybe it's more than just a feeling of the moment,
right.
right?
Maybe this deeper like depression or
Maybe it's something that that there's a limit to how one can help, right?
right.
But for the most part, sometimes we just want to not feel alone, man. And
That's all
that
we could
toxic
ask.
positivity bit for me comes off like a mask. That's really all it is. We're masking ugly shit. Ugly shit that we don't want to deal with. Whether it's your own or somebody else's. I don't want to deal with your ugly shit because then what? That mirror is being held up and you might have to deal with your own ugly shit.
Right. And I guess this is where I'm having the difficulty of understanding how people could do that because I don't do that. Like if right now the freaking cup breaks, our cup broke. No, if it breaks, I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be like, "God, fuck, I'm gonna deal with it. This is the minimalistic thing. I get it. It's not a big, huge thing, but it broke, and it's our cup. It's our cup. So I'm gonna be sad about it. Okay, you could just go buy another one.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it, but this was our first cup. You see,
Right.
like,
So this is where art can be applied to life. I teach about endowments. As human beings, this is something that we do every day. We endow things, feelings, names, people, relationships. We endow it with an emotion. We connect to it. We are connecting beings. And every time we try to deny that, what exactly are we doing? Right? So that cup is endowed with it being our first cup. Like, I am by no means a minimalist person, but I am beginning to recognize how, you need to part ways with certain things. However, the value still exists, right? And to take the picture and remember it, and why you keep a piece of the fabric of the pillow from when you were a baby, or the necklace that a grandparent gave you, something like that. We endow those things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with if it's lost, if it's stolen, if it's broken. We might go through a breakdown, right? Granted, this is our first mug. Ay, qué triste, se rompió. I've always learned, like, if you lose it or it breaks, it took with it an energy that it needed to take. Have you heard that?
right, yeah,
Right? Pero no quita de que, ay, duele. If it was something even more, right? Like somebody extremely meaningful to you gave you that, Mira, I thought I lost one of the earrings you gave me and I cried.
Aw.
I got so upset. I was like, right? And it was sad, but because it was a lovely exchange between somebody that means a lot to me, that started a new journey for me. Those things are meaningful. You can't just be like, ay, bueno, maybe she can just make you they can make you another one. No.
I was just about to say that. I was like, I could just make you another one. No, but see, that's not the point.
Not the point.
Because it's not. I can make you another one, but when I gave it to you, it was at a reason, yeah, exactly. But where I was going with this example of the mug, I could easily ignore that the mug broke and be like, oh, it doesn't matter, and put it away. But most people would not deal with that emotion because they don't want to think about it. And it's as simple as a mug. Can you imagine any other problems? Like, I'm too honest with my feelings to be like, whatever. I'm not gonna tell Vanessa the cup broke, but she's not gonna be able to see it in the show. No, I'm gonna make a fucking deal about it. Make a
Yeah.
fucking rest in peace mug obituary thing on the fucking Instagram, because I deal with my emotions of things that mean something to me. Doesn't matter what it is, but that's just me. I deal with
Right.
little mini emotions to big emotions. I could cry for 4 hours straight about whatever the fuck the case was, but I'm gonna deal with it, and then I'm gonna maybe
But
now I'm better.
even, and I think the goal of acknowledging the detriment that toxic positivity can be is that for everyone that journey is different. That journey to deal
Right.
is different.
That's
And
true.
we may not understand that other person's way. We may not necessarily agree. Right? There's only, all you can do is really respect it and allow it.
Right.
Right? Now, again, if it's one of those prolonged things and continuous things where they mask and mask and mask and mask, and there's somebody that you care about, you want to help them recognize that they're masking things and it's not beneficial to them. But in telling them and smiling it away, or no, it could have been worse, or at least you still have this going for you, you are helping them not deal.
Right.
You
I
know?
can't even. Just thinking about it, and mind you, I don't know about you, but when I hear somebody do that, being toxic positive to somebody else, or do that, invalidating other people's feelings, I'm like, no, let them cry their eyes out if they want to. Like, I tell something to, I don't know, I speak up about it.
Tiani, sometimes it's just feeling that a person cares enough to support you without the comments of positivity. Inherently, we all know, right, that we want to reach a more positive place. Absolutely, Tiani. Yeah. Like we want to be in a more positive place and reframe that thought and feel better about the situation. But in that moment, we want to know that we are supported, and no matter how we're feeling, that somebody is there to be like, I got you. And lo suelta. Sometimes all you need to do is soltarlo, sacar el veneno, right? Let the poison out. And then you're like, I feel lighter. Oh my God, I feel so much better. You know what? And then you laugh about, I can't believe I was in that space a moment ago.
But that's your own journey, your own time to how you're gonna deal
because
with
you
it.
were able to do it, but you bottle it and you bottle it and you lo tapa and you do the thing. We can only say these things with such certainty because we've lived it, y'all. That's why, because we've lived it, we've experienced it, we've been in it. But if you tapa y tapa y tapa, it's like you that positivity is never fully reached, or it's just faking it till you make it, which used to be my live by motto. And I can no longer authentically stick by fake it till you make it.
Never done that. Can't live like that. That's what I was saying earlier. I'm like, I don't know how people could do that. Like, how can it doesn't? I don't know. I just, to me, just thinking about it, I'm already feel so overwhelmed with it, and it's not, I don't even do it.
Because imagine how much more work it takes to fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
What if you don't make it in a week? What if it takes 5 years for you to make it? That's a lot of holding up. And a lot of missed opportunities to have a better situation by just having dealt with it.
This is why we do mental checks with each other. How are you today, Vanessa? How are you, Chubby? I'm good. Oh, you need to talk? Let's talk. Okay, hold on. Wait. I'm listening. Talk it all out. Just like you do to me, I do to you.
Yep. Therapist Helen had mentioned to me, the past self and the present self. We talk about it and joke about this all the time. I was sobbing, wholeheartedly sobbing, because present Vanessa had to deal with some BS past Vanessa had done and left undone. And now that I was in a better place and being responsible and I have to deal with those things because I wanted to be responsible and YOLO. But that YOLO is causing my YOLO today.
Yeah.
is making me miss jeopardized relationships, opportunities, and moments for myself. Your past self will thank you for taking a minute to deal with your shit. Your present, rather, your future self.
Yeah. Right. Just deal with it now. I don't know. I've always been too, you know me, too honest with my emotions, too honest with how I feel. And I say
We
too honest
both
because
own buses, Chubby. You got your own bus. Don't talk to me.
I'm starting to own my own bus now. But it's true. I say too honest because it could be overwhelming to some people that I'm so blunt and too honest, and they're like, "Damn, talk about no filters for real." But no, I'd rather be too honest than be like, "Oh no, it's gonna be okay. Don't worry about it." But thank you. No, it is what it is. It's shit, and I'm
Yeah.
dealing with it, and I'm gonna cry forever until I'm done. And then when I'm done, I'm like,
Maybe it doesn't happen to you because from what I'm hearing, it's not something that you necessarily relate to, which good for you. Maybe somebody else that's watching can relate. Sometimes when you hear that somebody unintentionally or intentionally pushing that toxic positivity onto someone else, not only are you like, no, but let them feel their feels, because you are now seeing it from the outside. You're seeing it being done. You're not the one doing it. You can see
yeah,
that, but then it automatically holds a mirror to the times you've done it. Right. And we've talked about that in a past episode where you're like, you pick up and you're like, listen, I'm sorry for March 22nd, 1349, when I said tal cosa. I just realized I used somebody's birthday unintentionally. Um, but like you recognize guilty, you see what it looks
mm,
like, you see how it is received, what it causes, and in seeing it, you're like, it wakes you up to potentially not do it as much or do it differently next time. One would hope.
right.
One would hope.
Only is
Because
anybody else?
you've said this, you've said about sitting in the uncomfortability. You've said this
Mm-hmm.
before. And another time that I heard that was, you know who I'm going to mention?
Oh my God, who?
Brené Brown.
How did I know?
Brené
Mhm.
Brown, Mabu. She talks about that. And the same thing applies to toxic positivity. You got to sit in the feels. You got to let it be real. You have to be real.
Exactly.
You have to be authentic, genuine. And for it to pass, the moment that you're truly sitting in that uncomfortability and doing that work and truly being vulnerable is the moment you really are being your a genuine self, a real connector, or a real human.
Right, because you're dealing with them, and that's part of growth. You learn what makes you uncomfortable. You learn that you didn't like this. You didn't learn, okay, I don't like this. And you learn how to deal with it as well. So you learn how to sit with it and be like, okay, maybe crying is not what I need to do. Maybe writing it out will help me out, or maybe talking to somebody. So you find ways to actually deal with your shit, instead of like finding a way to, like
It
just
helps
cope
you,
with it.
it
So
helps you recognize your patterns too. Well,
exactly.
I've sat in this situation alone and it hasn't served me. What happens if I sit with a friend? What happens if I sit with a mental health professional? What happens if I sit with a parent? Right?
Exactly.
What's the definition of insanity? Not saying that anybody crazy or insane, but we do
Mhm.
it to ourselves sometimes. We drive ourselves a little crazy. I know I drive myself a little crazy. Repeating the same pattern, hoping to get a different outcome.
Outcome with the same.
Right? You can't do the same pattern and heal in that pattern if it's proven to not work for you before and only cause you more pain. And it's something that's very difficult to accept. But it is a fact of life.
It is. I know.
Caso cerrado.
I remember the other day I was messaging you and I'm like, oh my God, am I being toxic, like positive right now to her? No, no,
That
no,
was
I'm not.
so
And then
funny.
but I thought I was for a second. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not. It's just me. No, no. And the only reason why I thought about that at that moment was because of the topic. And I normally know that I don't do that because that's not me, because I sit on the truth and I'm like, this is it. I know she's going through a shit, but guess what? She's gonna
Yeah.
sit on it. And you know, so yeah. Sometimes when you sit and you're thinking,
Who? All right. Question for the masses, including the Fabu co-host. What do you think in our circles, in your circles, your individual circles, where do you think you are bombarded with the most toxic positivity? Is it your blood family, right? Your family of friends, or, acquaintances that come in and just happen to catch you in a moment?
we will wait. Well,
No
I
more
can
wait.
answer that. Well, you can answer
Go
it
ahead.
first if you like. Well, for me,
Oh,
will be
no, go. I'm waiting for you. You
my
can say, I want you
mine
to answer.
will, mine will be my blood family. Uh, that's an obvious because ya tú sabes, Hispanics, we don't talk about life. We
Right.
just like, and we're like happy all the time.
It's crazy how in a lot of these things that we've discussed in a lot of past episodes include, and from things that are not even related to mental health, right? I'm talking about from pronouns to everything, how heavily culture weighs, right? And dynamic, because family dynamic within that culture is very different within the culture of other families, from friends. Okay, yeah.
Think of
I
my friends are not like that. Oh,
I think
and
I've I think I've had that. You know what? I feel, I'm gonna say, look, here comes the bus. Honk honk. Pew pew. Here comes the bus.
new decoration to the bus. Continue.
Right. I'm putting myself on blast. I think of family, I have been I've served up some toxic positivity to my tiani. Again, with the best of intentions and within the scope of knowledge of what I could give to assist, wanting to give.
Right.
And with time and with age, we learn to just be there and listen. And also, the person needing the support learns to say, I just need this. Can you be this for me right now in this moment? I had to learn how to say, hey, the hold space bit. I said, therapist Helen taught me about holding space. I did not know that phrase, that term, right? We're talking about new terms, could hold such weight and make such a difference. Because it's not like, can you give me 5 minutes? No, I need you to hold space for me. That means, are you mentally, are we here that I
Yeah.
can share where I'm at without it breaking you down, and that you can just be here for me for a second? No, it doesn't mean that it can't switch around in at a given moment, but right now, this is what I need. I think that's important.
And also I feel like just talking. Find somebody you could talk about everything and all. And obviously, like you said, everybody has their limit. We're like, okay, I'm done for tonight, but we could
And
talk.
there is
We could
nothing wrong with that.
chat, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just talking in general, knowing that you have someone that you could go to without no judgment, no unconditionally, and just be like, listen, that's like the best thing that you could possibly like do for somebody. Like that's me, because I don't take anything personal. Whatever's going on with you, it's yours, but I'm here to listen to you. Talk to me. you know
Yeah.
you okay?
Yeah, you were saying that just people pop into your head.
Yeah. um
Oh,
uh
Brian.
yeah, hi Brian. Again, I'm gonna see what Brian says. Maybe from my parents, however, I feel like I could work on it too. I think the reason for it is because when something is wrong, it's about trying to make everything fine as quickly as possible.
Have you seen that little meme of the dog that the whole house is on fire and the little dog is sitting there at the table smiling and the little bubble says, I'm fine. The whole house is on fire. I'm fine. You know, but it's one of those things that is passed along. Like I said, there's no one generation. Every generation has it in a different capacity. And even the generation that gave it a name suffers from dishing out toxic positivity because we were taught, right? And there's a difference between being positive. There is absolute benefit to keeping a positive outlook and putting intention into a positive outcome. But to not acknowledge or validate the caca that it is, you won't know to appreciate the positive outcome when it happens.
Right.
Because you were just pretending that it was positive the whole time. Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was great. So you cannot even revel in how far you'd come. You cannot enjoy how far you come and how great this positive outcome was because you pretended for so long that it wasn't caca.
Right.
And the caca was real.
The fact that that's our hashtag, I cannot even.
You love it.
It just makes me laugh at the most inopportune times. You know what this is just reminding me of? I think we all went through this. You know when you were a kid and you will fall? At least for us, like for me, like my parents, ahí te caíste, bueno, deal with, you're fine. They don't go to you, be like, are you okay? They just let you sit with your scraped knee until you're done crying.
But
You're dealing with that.
You see, there's that balance. I understand what you're saying. And yes, like I would get a lot of sana colita de rana when that would happen. Or my grandmother or my mom or even my tias would take it to the extreme of, ay, la niña se cayó, she fell, we gotta amputate the leg, like going to the extreme to make it so heavy that I'm like, I start laughing at how ridiculous the situation is.
Right, like, I'm good, yeah.
But they're going with my moment. They're going with my moment of, and then like, it's tickling me that you're cutting my leg, like, right? But then it's funny because you're also fed by outside voices of like, you need to let them cry, let them deal with su caída, because si no, they're going to be a pendejo.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So much conflicting information.
But I think they still go hand in hand though, because now when you get cut, what do? Yeah, balance. Yeah. What do? Te cortaste. Oh no, it's just a small cut, and then all your fingers cut off. Like, come on, we need we need balance, because that toxic positivity ya lo llevaste al otro lado. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, don't forget we have Chubi's Book Corner. I know some of y'all missed it. I hope, because
it. This is the moment.
We have to. Yeah, I remember.
I need to give you a song. You ready? Here's a Chubi. Da, 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 Chubi's Book Corner.
I remember the Chubi's Book Corner. Corner. That's what we need. Exactly how it is. Okay. That's what I want. Something like that. Whoever can make it happen. So there's only 2 books on our list today. So today's on Chubi's Book Corner, we have number 1. Do Not Tell Me to Calm Down. Face Your Power and Find Your Peace by Erin Donnelly. It's exhausted from pretending to be happy in a world that doesn't want you to talk about real issues. So that's what the book deals. What it deals about.
The math.
Yeah. Number 2 is Be Positive, Fuck Toxic Positivity by Bria Fleming. Affirmation that does not push positive vibes only. So it's, real issues, and you just, try to figure out how to deal with them. So these are the only 2 books I actually wanted to share with you all today. I mean, the other books that I found were just about being mindful, and being present,
Oh, that's delicious. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Mindfulness.
Because it's true. What happens? The part of the reason that a lot of us have difficulty, I include myself, a lot of us have difficulty in the dealing process and allowing the feels is our awareness of what it is to feel those things, of allowing ourselves to feel those things, or in giving toxic positivity of acknowledging and knowing what that looks like in other people, either if it's caused by us or caused by other things, and how to be that support. You have to be aware we are not islands, and we, yes, autonomous beings, we all should be, and we should celebrate those things, but none of us is an island.
Right.
And I think more than ever, and during this pandemic, we've learned that reaching out, that need for that reach out, even if it's virtually, is important. I got quotey quotes.
Let's quote it for a night away until we gotta,
Quotey
go.
corner. Quotey corner. I think we're gonna go from Music Mondays to Quotey corners with Vanessa, because I am the quotester. This is not necessarily a quote, but it's something to keep in mind. When is positivity toxic? We have certain behaviors that could be counted as toxic positivity, whether it's in ourselves or when talking to others. And what constitutes this? Hiding what we really feel. Zing, zing, zing. And this is from Tang Law Mental Health. Dismissing our emotions, dismissing someone else's, or dismissing our own. Because sometimes we push toxic positivity on ourselves. That's possible too, y'all.
I think I do that.
I do that. See, you may not. I know I unintentionally do it to others. You may not do it to others, but you may do it to yourself. Feeling guilty for the negative emotions we feel. Why are you reading my life? I feel attacked.
I don't feel guilty, but yeah, no, I get it.
Minimizing other people's experience by saying, don't think about it. Showing others, miércoles, sábado y domingo. Oh, it's still here. Okay. Showing others, different perspective. It's not that bad. It could have been tal. It could have been poop.
Or think about the other people in the world that has it worse.
Right.
Do I care about the other people that have it worse?
Here comes the big one. Here comes the Mac Daddy. Shaming other people for feeling negative emotions. Right? So in this one thing, we heard two words that we've learned a lot about: guilt and shame. Shame, I am bad because of this. There's something wrong with me because I feel this. And guilt, you did something bad. Something you've done is bad. Something you felt, right? Guilt is less harsh, but still not nice. And the quotes, here we go. Being positive doesn't mean you live in Candyland. Positive people have real problems. They get angry, they challenge people, and fight hard for what they believe in. Positivity is not about wearing rose-colored glasses and rolling over when the going gets tough. It's about being self-aware and accountable for your emotional state. Isaiah Hankel. I love that. You don't have to be positive all the time. I'm going to say that first part one more again. You don't have to be positive all the time. It's perfectly okay to feel sad, angry, annoyed, frustrated, scared, or anxious. Having feelings doesn't make you a negative person. It makes you human.
Yeah.
And every time we try to invalidate or cover up or mask, we're covering our humanity and our ability to connect on a real level.
Yeah, because everything becomes superficial. It's like, oh my God, this person's vibes only. Oh my God, let me go follow them. They're cool. Like, no.
Because it's so much easier to not have to deal with what you don't want to deal. To micromanage those things. And granted, I understand that we do it for certain reasons. Like, I'm not ready for that or whatever. Great. But you have to be willing to go to certain depths, especially with people that you've already delved into more connected relationships with, right? Romantic, friendship, familial. We know where I stand on that. But regardless of what it is, you've already made that conscious choice. You got to allow. You got to. Déjate querer. Yeah.
This is why we have no filters, no fears. Because yeah, I mean, you can have fears, but we mean like sit with them. You know,
My friend
I
Jeff
was like,
Quintana says all the time, follow your fear. Follow your fear. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean it's not there saying, hey, you can't do it. It's going to be there. It's going to do that. But you're like, I'm going to try. Y si me caigo de culo, I try again.
right, exactly. You can't be afraid of not trying something because of the what ifs that are not even happening yet. And it's okay to feel that too. It's okay to be like, oh my God, but what if? But right now you have to say, but why not now and try?
But what could you potentially be depriving yourself of? You know what I mean? Yes, be precautious because you do have your experiences that inform how you want to proceed. But don't let
Right.
fear dictate certain things because you could be missing or jeopardizing some of the most important experiences and people in your life. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say that.
Because it's true.
Yeah.
Well, do we have any final thoughts now that we're getting to the end anyway?
You say the final thoughts first.
Well, my final thoughts to you all, whoever's watching still at 9:02 East Central. Watch how you speak to yourself, how you allow yourself to be, how you allow yourself to feel, and remember that it's okay to feel all the feelings you're feeling. Try to find a way for you to cope with that and how you are able to express it. Find someone, write it down, tweet it. I don't know, 21st century, there's plenty of ways to go do things, but just talk. Don't hold it in, and be true to yourself. That's all I could say. Just be true to your emotions. Your emotions. And then watch how you talk to other people too.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it.
My final thought is give people what they need, not what you think they need.
Things they need.
We're all guilty of that, and with the best of intentions. The same way that we push toxic positivity with the best of intentions. There's nothing, I say nothing wrong with being positive and wanting to have a positive outlook and cling to that positive outcome. But we cannot ignore what we as humans go through and what certain things cause in us, because it would be inauthentic to ourselves and would cause ourselves harm. And it's inauthentic to those around us who deserve to know us for everything that we are. And if they're willing to accept that and be there for you the way you need, then you know you got the right people around you. And if they're not, thank you for your stay. I hope you find somebody that is aligned with you in that way, you know? And those decisions can be difficult to make. But the more we allow ourselves to feel and really see things for what they are and hold ourselves accountable for our role in those things and not just the pretty picture we want it to be, the more it's actual positivity and we get to enjoy it because we know the difference.
And there will always be room for growth when you go through the emotions. So, and you
say that one more time.
Well, I forgot. So
there's always room for growth.
There you go.
Yeah.
When you sit with your emotions, though, that's what I added afterwards.
Sit with your emotions. Sit with it.
But you already know, guys. Just stay fearless and I don't know. Anything else?
I'm typing. Sit with it. I'm a hashtag monster. Take hashtags away from Vanessa. We will see you guys on Monday again. Thank you. We know this got heavy. We know this got serious. We do want you to stay positive. There's good things happening in the world, but we can't be foreign to the caca.
Don't lie to yourself.
No, don't do it. Love you all. Stay fearless.
Till next time.